Okay, it's working. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just bear with me. While I get set up. So far, so good, it seems. A lot of things I've talked about in the past. I've seen it before. Some videos tonight. One is going to be a very quick introduction to what I do. About one will be a video about the demonology one that I'm a demonologist. You probably know everything seems to be going wrong for me right now. I'm not having a good night. Wasn't even supposed to be here. I was supposed to be at a friend of mine's wedding. But unfortunately, I haven't been feeling well, so I decided I was feeling a little better, so I tried to do this. My audio, let me know. Am I still breaking up? What on earth? Why does video keep doing that? It's freezing again. I may have to do this another night. And there's a video. No, can you guys hear me? Lisa or Teresa, please let me know if you hear this. Okay, I don't get to know the stream. Hear me? That's good enough. Just do me a favor in chat and give me a heads up if I suddenly cut out. I don't care about the. My main goal tonight is let people know who I am and what I'm doing. I want to do. I've mostly been doing hour-long videos from the beginning, and I decided I want to start doing shorter ones. To try to drive viewers up again. And one of you should listen to me. What to do, what to do, what to do, what to do, what to do. Please live stream for the new viewer, any new viewers that come in. So that's nothing ever. Right. Okay, so we're listening either now or in the future. A happy Halloween, or as may be appropriate to your religion, happy Halloween. It's also my personal favorite reasons that'll become obvious. So, for those of you who are wondering who I am, my name is Kevin Mears. I'm a journalist, and I've been doing this for 27 years. Good Lord, I'm old. I started when I was 8. I started formally when I was 18. I started getting trained 2021. Worked under a very well known demonologist. Research. I am unlike and to give you a bit of perspective on Hulu, when a famous skeptic debunker by the name of Darren Brown came over from England to film Lou, and I was actually in that particular documentary, which is called Darren Brown Investigates the Ghost Hunter, and this was 2009, because that was when Lou passed away. It was right before he died. Just let me know in the chat if everything you guys can hear me. I wish I did. It looks on my this is gonna suck. I'm supposed to have guests coming up. But Lou was trained how to be a demonologist by people. Even if you don't know Lou, you probably will know, which is Ed and Lorraine Warren. Ed and Lorraine are this entire conjuring is based around the work they did. They famously did the Amityville Horror. They were the only demonologists, only lay demonologists in the 20th century that were recognized by the Roman Catholic Church. Or more technically, Ed was a lay demonologist recognized by the church. Lorraine was not. And she would always tell you she was not a demonologist. So what is it that I do? I mean, again, a better idea what demonology is in the next video, presuming the internet spirits don't mess it too badly. But so what is it exactly I do aside from talk on YouTube? Well, I'm a paranormal investigator. Somebody will usually email me and say, help, my house is haunted. I'll talk to what exactly is going on. I'll get some information from them. And then, assuming the case sounds legitimate, because I get my people that I don't think have a haunted house, to be completely honest with you. Why on earth is it should be working. But I'll go out, I'll investigate. If I have good reason to believe the house is haunted, eventually I will either bless blessings or attend from lay people. If needs be, I'll even get a priest to step in and get involved. All seems to be working. Cool. Thank you, Teresa. And yes, in extreme cases, possession is very rare. We'll get into that more in the next video. But bottom line, I'm the kind of guy. I'll explain what differentiates me from your usual ghost hunter on television very simply. So my mentor, the late Lou Gentili, famously said on more than one occasion, we're not people you call because you hear footsteps in your hallway at night. We're the people, calls that I've gotten terrified of what's going on in their house. They want to move. I've had people commit suicide because of the spirits that were in their house. This is not the cheerful Casper the Friendly Ghost type of YouTube channel. I mean, it's not all doom and gloom, although it mostly is doom and gloom. We do have some fun. I have a very good friend of mine, Patrick Thomas, who is a fantasy writer who I'll be having on in the near future. I am having the entire team that is working on a 5th edition adaptation of the Dungeons & Dragons horror setting Ravenloft. Some of you who are familiar with Dungeons & Dragons may be going, but wait, they just released a Ravenloft setting. This group, Misfactor Press, they call themselves, are doing one that's more directly a continuation of older editions. So it should be a lot of fun. It's Dungeons and Dragons, so it's fantasy and magic, but it's vampires and ghosts and demons and a very gothic horror type of setting. They're going to be coming on, like I said, Patrick Thomas is coming on, who's a fantasy author. And my knowledge is not exclusive to spirits. I've been in the paranormal field for 25 years. I spent 10 years doing radio. I was a co-host of the Lou Gentili Show, which was a nationally syndicated radio show that was on the internet starting in the late 90s. So I've been doing internet videos, in fact, because we did have video, since just about before most people had thought of the idea. And we were also a traditional radio station as well. But I have talked to people about Stonehenge. I've talked to people about King Arthur. I've talked to people about vampires, angels, aliens, all of the aliens, mediums that claim to talk to the dead, mediums that claim to talk to angels, witches. On one very memorable occasion, I actually talked to somebody who claimed to be, at the time when I spoke with him, was claiming to be channeling Vlad Dracula. Not Dracula as in the novel, but Vlad the Impaler, the actual 15th century Wallachian, technically, warlord. Was it really Dracula? I'll put it like this. He didn't remember how to speak Romanian, and Count von Count had a better accent. Point is, we mostly have a lot of fun. This is not entirely humor. This is not meant to be a humorous channel. I'm not here to make fun of the paranormal. I've been doing this a long time. I take it very seriously, but you kind of have to have a laugh once in a while, or you're gonna lose your mind. That's just the way it is. And trust me, anyone who's ever done anything in the paranormal will tell you that. So let's. What annoys me is last time I tried to do a stream, it was with an old computer, and I thought the problems that we're having was with the old computer. New stream, new computer, new computer, and same exact problems, which makes me think it's something with the website I'm using to stream this, not with the computer. I'm gonna have to look into that. I should mention, what many of you will not, even my longtime listeners, won't necessarily know, because I've only just recently started this project. I'm currently involved in a massive research undertaking. Specifically, I am burying myself in the Salem witch trials. Back in July, for my birthday, I went up to Salem for my birthday because I happened to find the witch trials fascinating. And it kind of reawakened a very old interest I had in the trials. So, and led me to ask a question no one that I know of has ever really found a good answer to. We know why the witch trials happened, which is a combination of economic and political factors relating to issues that the colony was having with England that would ultimately, almost a century later, lead to the revolution. It involved religious issues with the fact that there was Salem itself, and then there's Salem Village and the farms that were on the outside of town, and the ones on the outside of town wanted their own congregation, their own church. But the ones in town already had a church and didn't think that they should have their own congregation. There's a huge fight over that. They went through a whole series of Puritan ministers. In fact, one of them is very unusual for most witch trials, both here in the States and on the continent, in that he was actually a clergy. Teresa, yeah, I'd love to say that this is really fun. I'd more call it tedious, because I'm reading through there. I'll put it like this: my research material is in the. Yes, I'm talking about my research project on Salem, Lisa. all my research materials currently in my car because I bring it in to work with me to have something to do. But I bought off of it Amazon actually, so if anybody's interested, you can get it there. 1,000-page copy of every surviving trial transcript, all of the warrants, all of the depositions, and not just the depositions, but like 3-4 different versions of the depositions written down by different people. And it gets mind-numbingly tedious because it's you read the account of Sarah Good, read by one guy, that or by Hawthorne, for example, one of the judges, and then the next entry is the account of the deposition of Sarah Good by Edward Putnam, and then by somebody else, and it's like, and they're all just saying she came, she pinched, she poked, she choked the children. Children had these horrible fits. It's redundant. I'm finding some really interesting things. And I'm forming a hypothesis. Because here's the thing. Why the families pushed the kids to make the accusations they did is fairly well documented. That's also a really interesting subject. And I'll circle back to it in a second. But reading these transcripts, there are hints of something else going on. Because here's the thing. We know why the accusations were made that were made, for the most part. We know why the children making these claims were believed. And it basically hit the perfect storm of time with everything going wrong. What we don't know is why the children were having the fits that they did. There's a lot of theories, one of the more popular being ergot poisoning. Except it can't have been ergot poisoning, none of the symptoms match, except hallucinations and seizures. Another one is that it was mass psychogenic illness, which is a 21st century way of saying mass hysteria. There's some issues there as well, because frankly, it's not a very well-respected diagnosis even today. Lisa, yes, one of multiple reasons would be land disputes. There were land disputes, there were political disputes. There was the ongoing fight to try to have their own church. There was tensions left over from the fact that it's only a couple of years ago, and I want to say 1689, the colonists of Massachusetts Bay had been embroiled in a very serious war with some of the Native American tribes, known as King Philip's War. There's an excellent book if you guys want to see all the factors that go into the trials called The Storm of Witchcraft, which gets into considerable detail. But anyway, long story made marginally shorter. I'm working on a book trying to explain why the children had the fits that they did. And without spoiling too much, my current working hypothesis is there was in fact something of a paranormal nature going on. Which is not to say that the women the 25 people who died, 19 hanged, 1 crushed under rock, 5 died in prison. I'm not saying that they're guilty of witchcraft. With maybe 1 or 2 exceptions, they're almost certainly not. But here's an interesting thing. If you read Sarah Osborne, who was one of the the first 3 accusations, the first warrant that was issued was for 3 women: Sarah Good, Sarah Osborne, and the Indian slave Tituba. And yes, that's right, Indian slave. What her origins were are a matter of historical debate. A number of historians think that she was from actually born on Barbados and was a Carib Indian. Or maybe one of the tribes here, or maybe she was an African slave like most people think. We don't know. So of the 3, Good, Osborne, and Tituba. Good denied being a witch. Tituba kind of admitted it. Or at least admitted that the devil kept coming into her to ask. Where this gets interesting is Osborne's testimony. Osborne claims that she's not only is she not a witch, but that she's a victim of witchcraft. Starting with that point and branching outward, there are certain common themes I'm finding that I recognize as a demonologist. And again, I'm going to get into that in another video in just a minute. But I think there may have been something demonic that got involved, not summoned up by the people who were executed, maybe not even summoned up by the people making the accusations, but something that took advantage of a horrible political situation to cause death and destruction. When the research is done, I'm hopefully going to try to write a book about it. But I'll put it like this. I'm on page 150 of 1,024 pages of trial transcripts. And when I'm done making notes about the trial transcripts, I have to cross-reference my findings against all the other books I've now gotten, like the Malleus Maleficarum, which was the Hammer of Witches, which was How to Go Hunt Witches. And the, what's it called? The Invisible Wonders of the Invisible World by Cotton and Crease Mather, who were Puritan ministers who were very pro-witch trial. And very important to the history of the witch trials, although both of them cautioned against some of the dumber evidence that was used. And King James I's demonology, which is another major influence on their ideas of witchcraft. And then just to round the whole thing out, I also have more Wonders of the Invisible World, which is a book that's an early book written published in like 1700 about how the witch trials were all wrong and shouldn't have happened. And then there's probably still more books to read on top of that. So I'm going to be at that for a long time. But okay, I'm now reaching the point I wanted to end this first video. Teresa and Lisa, head over to the next video. I'll be starting it in a minute. Folks, if you're watching this on recording, you can just find the next one. It'll be called Short Vids 2, What is Demonology? And then stay tuned. Now you have some idea of who I am. Now let's talk about what it is I talk about, so you know if this is the sort of channel that you're interested in. So stay tuned or switch videos now.